Hey Nathan, this is a part two video for you to answer your question. For anybody else following along, I made a video earlier today for Nathan on how to move his Plex server off his Synology NAS, which I now learn is a DS920 Plus, which is the same processor that my DS1520 Plus has. It's actually a decent little processor. It's got a decent iGPU. Um, it's the UHD graphics 600 iGPU, which is similar performance to the UHD 630 iGPU found in all the 8th through 10th gen Intel processors. It'll transcode high bitrate 4K HEVC media without an issue. It'll do just about 5 high bitrate streams that are transcoded down to 720p. It's a little powerhouse, but that iGPU is in a 9th gen Celeron processor. I moved my Plex server to Unraid running as a Docker host install only, and it's on a 14th gen Intel i5 with a fabulous and super powerful, what is it? It's a Meteor Lake ARC iGPU. It's fantastic. Anyway, so Nathan's wondering about what might be different because in my video I showed one shared media folder and he has multiple shared folders for his media. A movie shared folder, a TV, probably a music too. Then he's also wondering if his friends and family can connect. So let's answer that question first. So the only thing that matters is that the server name stays the same. And let me see, where do I want to go for that? Not there. Here, this is all that matters. The friendly name stays the same. And that's why in the original media I suggested copying it and putting it in a scratch pad, a notepad or something, just to have it handy. But something else your users can do, this is not required. They can go to the web app themselves. They won't have a Plex server to see, but the web app is just a client app too. So when they're here, they can click on their account icon. They can go to account settings and they can drop down to this area to make sure this is active or enabled to keep their watch history and ratings in sync across the entire Plex platform. That means if they watch a show on the free portion of Plex and maybe they watch 2 or 3 episodes and there's a lot more episodes left, well, if you add that series later to your server, it'll show up in the continue watching, and it doesn't matter where they started it from or where they watched the next episode. Plex knows what's been watched beforehand. So it really doesn't hurt, just in case you ever have a catastrophic accident and you build a server up from scratch and you give it a different name and then you invite them to that second server. This setting will keep their watch history all set. So if they were watching shows on the old server and then they're now connected to the new server, this continue watching will look the same. It would look the same for them if they connected my server after yours went down, as long as I had the same shows they were watching. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, what I would suggest doing is, let's do this. I want to talk about the trash guides as a reason to revamp your storage. Move all your media into one shared folder. Now, you don't have to move everything. You could rename your movie shared folder, maybe media, and then copy your TV shows in. But let's talk about why first. And that's instant or atomic moves. So if you think of a hard drive over here, the round platter, and a hard drive over here, and you've got a humongous file you want to move from this hard drive to that hard drive, well, what happens is it doesn't move. it's copied, and when it's done copying, the original gets deleted. And that takes a while. The larger the file, the longer it takes. Well, now, if you had a large file on the first hard drive and you were moving it to a new folder on that hard drive, that is an instant move because all that's really getting changed is the location marker for it. The file doesn't really move on the hard drive. So this is what the Trash Guides recommends, a setup for instant moves, especially if you're using Usenet like I am. Otherwise, if you have a whole line of TV episodes slated to come in because you added a new sitcom that might have had a dozen seasons with 22 episodes per season, well, everything is delayed waiting for files to copy and delete or to move. So let me go into this. This is my older Synology NAS, and here's the shared media folder. So here is the acquisition folder for the program or the service Saab NZBD, and on my regular NAS, this would be running in a Docker container. So here's some subfolders. This is the landing zone for anything that comes in. Well, there's a R program, Sonar for TV shows, R or Radar for movies, and LiDAR for music. They're called the R's. Let's talk about TV episodes. So Sonar, you'd add a TV show to it. It would start scanning, but it really doesn't scan. It sends the scan to a service called Prowler. Prowler connects to all the R programs and also connects to the downloader program. So Prowler goes out and looks for it, and if it finds the episodes, or it finds the episodes for every episode of a long-running TV show, and then passes on the information to the Saab NZBD service. And Saab could be looking at torrents, or it could be looking at Usenet. I recommend Usenet. And you set those sites up in Prowler. So when Saab starts to bring things in to this folder, well, Sonar is monitoring it for any TV shows that have been added to its service. So when an episode lands, Sonar then, in one movement, it will rename and move it into the folder it belongs in. Well, because all my media is in that same shared folder, that's an instantaneous move from this folder to, let's say, this folder. Instant, blink of an eye. Now, if I had, let's back up further. If I had Saab NZBD as a shared folder, and then I had a movie shared folder, and then I had a TV shared folder, well, then you get into that long copy, and once it's copied, the original is deleted, and it just takes forever to do a whole series where when you have one shared media folder, as fast as those files can be acquired, you might watch them zip across in Saab NZBD like this if they're smaller sitcom files. They get processed that fast too by Sonar, who's renaming them and moving them instantly. So this is what I always recommend that somebody start this way. Doesn't matter that it's a nested structure like I use or not, but you should really get everything into one shared media folder. And I do recommend the nested setup because all my movie libraries are in this sort folder. And I don't use cases, uppercases, or spaces in any of my structure. My media folder is lowercase media. These library folders are lowercase, no spaces. There's nothing in that. And when you get into the actual library folder, then you return to using uppercase letters and spaces for both the movie folder or the TV show folder, season folder, and episode name or movie name, just like this. So in a flat structure, all your different libraries would be at this level in this shared folder. Nested, there's just another layer. I'm sorry, everything would be at this level just in a flat structure. Nested, you just have all your TV show library folders grouped together. So, onto the part that's important to Nathan. He can make these changes. What you can't do is you can't remove TV shows from their original grouping. So if you have a TV shared folder on your NAS currently, and then it moves to a media shared folder, subfolder TV, well, you're still pointing to one specific area. Let's see if I can explain this better. So pretend, let's do it this way. So the original Plex library for the main TV show library is pointed here. Well, when you spin the transplanted server up, you have to adjust your path. So you're just removing this path and you're adding the new path, which might be a little bit different, but you still end up pointing at the folder that has the same information in it, if that makes sense. So if you get everything in one shared folder, you're just set up for a Trash Guides install to be very efficient. And if this is all new to you, you'd want to run those containers on your DS 920. Let me start up. All right, get that off the screen until my quick connect info goes away. Okay, so here's my DS 1520. It's got a expansion unit attached. So let's go into the container manager. I don't run Radar. I only run Sonar and Lidar. And Lidar is not running right now because it's got some developmental problems. And there's a fix through somebody else's image of Lidar, and I'm not sure if I'm going to spin that up or just wait for the fix from the main developers. But so all these run here. Plex server runs on my fast little Asus NUC with this very fast processor and this phenomenal iGPU. And then I run a few Docker containers besides Plex, channels DVR. I have a FileBot installed, so if I'm out of town, Tautuli. But all the Trash Guides containers run on the Synology NAS because that's a requirement of Atomic Moves. So my best recommendation is to be set for the future in case you move into that type of automation. And let me see, did I cover all your questions? So you can rearrange your folder structure as long as whatever library folder that a Plex library is pointing to, nothing's changed inside of it, but its location can be 3 levels down, it can be 2 levels up, that can change, so you can rearrange things. Because just like my first video, let's go to that older Synology NAS. All you're going to do is add a new path, and that path, in your case, it might say S, and then that mapping under Windows might point to the new shared media folder, but you won't see that. You'll see the folders inside that. So that path might be shorter and look a little different, but all that matters is that it leads to the same end structure that your movies are in, or your TV shows are in. So once you got the new path in, remove the old path, and you'll be all set. I know this may not make sense, but this is my second attempt at trying to explain it because my first video I just did not like how I was trying to explain it. And I wish I had thought about that in the first video because I could have mocked that up. So anyway, Nathan let me know. I'll get this up on YouTube. See what you think. If you're never going to do a trash guides install, the user you create for your Windows Plex server, just give it access to all your shared folders and you'll just keep going on like you're going on. So no harm. It's really most efficient for the trash guide setup. Thanks for watching and happy Plexing.